All right, so I'm here with Catoshi, who is a professional trader, and he's going to tell us all of our secrets, all of the tips, tricks, the lessons learned, and a bit of his strategy as well. So, welcome to the show, Catoshi. How are you?
Thank you, Seb. I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you. I love your show and love what you're doing in the Jupiverse. So yeah, good to be here.
Uh, Likewise, JM. Well, trading is certainly not my skill set, but we did do a fantastic video, if I may say so myself, with a whole lot of research and a whole lot of back and forth getting the alpha from you for the Uplink Jupiter channel. So that'll be linked below. And that goes over a very worthwhile strategy, but I'm sure there's quite a bit more to learn. There's so much stuff that just seems basic, I guess, to you, like support and resistance and timeframes. And I have a lot of knowledge in certain areas like DeFi and just general crypto stuff, but I don't actually have much knowledge when it comes to trading. So I'd love to just pick your brain and you could kind of take us on your adventure. Maybe starting off with like when you started trading and lessons learned, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of started trading back in like 2020 when I had a bunch of time. I didn't have a lot of work going on because COVID was happening and like everything kind of shut down. And I was looking at the charts and saying, "Oh my gosh, like crypto's just going wild right now." And but I had no idea how to trade at that time, and so I was just like looking at charts, seeing what was popping, and then like half the time top blasting, and I was living on the centralized exchanges, so dealing with high trading fees and top blasting all these coins that were oscillating at like 100% ups and downs, and just getting absolutely wrecked, getting like chopped up in between, selling, you know, selling the top and no, I mean selling the bottom, buying the top and selling the bottom over and over again. So I mean, you told me you were going to ask me like what my biggest loss was. It was just not knowing what I was doing during like the 2021 banana zone, and I'd say I lost about $5,000-10,000 just not knowing how to trade at that time, but like being so excited to see all the charts going up, and so since then I really cooled down and slowed down. The bear market happened, and I was just like, I'm not touching crypto again. Like I've always loved Web3 and understood, like, loved decentralization and what it stands for, and DAOs. Been super passionate about that, but like afraid and hesitant to trade. Um, and then it happened where I still owned a little bit of crypto. I was looking at charts, but Helium, I had a Helium miner too, just like barely earning like $5 a month off my stupid Helium miner. And but Helium, I was still like involved with Helium and seeing what they were doing, and they migrated off of their native blockchain onto Solana, and I was like, oh cool, let me see how this works. And Solana, and that's how I learned about Jupiter, just like swapping my Helium rewards uh, for Solana. And um, and then what happened was I was working a marketing job. Um, Absolutely hated my job. Had no idea what I was going to do, but I just ended up quitting one day when I got mad at my manager. So I was just like unsure what I was going to do, but I had a little bit of crypto. It was September of 2023. I started just looking at the charts 24/7 and trading on Jupiter 24/7, and and then I got really lucky because I had some bonk, and I had some Solana, and then the bull market kicked in Q4 of 2023, and then I started getting better at trading because Jupiter. I wasn't getting destroyed on fees with like Ethereum and the centralized exchanges, and so I started getting really good at swing trading, and I started to realize, well, maybe I could pay some bills doing this, and I was still like desperately putting in my resume and trying to get other jobs, but crypto started to take care of me to a greater degree. So that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today.
Awesome. Well, I guess you would have got a nice dupe bonus then as well. A
Yeah,
nice
Jupiary
airdrop initially.
happened. Jupiary happened. That kind of pulled me into the community, and also Meow talking about how he's starting a DAO. I've always been really passionate about decentralization and DAOs, and I was like, whoa, if Jupiter does a DAO, it's probably going to be one of the best. And then once it got established, and just seeing how many active staking wallets are there, and seeing how active the community is, I was like, this is really this is the real deal. Like, this is a real like next level DAO. This isn't just like Meow just saying stuff. So then I was really
Yeah.
impressed and got super involved, and now I'm working in the DAO with the Catdets working group.
Nice. And you mentioned you're like that's full time, but you're putting in a whole lot of hours. So you've got a little bit of an eye on the charts, but not as much as you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm pretty much full time in the Catdets working group, and we're about to go to a vote. So that's where my heart, my passion, and my dedication is. But I'm still, doing very long term, like maybe like weekly, monthly trades. It's not so much like looking at the 1 hour or 2 hour, but swing trading on the 2 hour is very effective in my opinion. But I just don't have the time as much for it as I'd like to. So.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I'm going to ask a whole lot of what I would deem silly questions because I don't know the answers that well. Um, and we'll see where this takes us. I think a lot of people will
Awesome.
have these questions, so this would be pretty good. So I guess to start off with, we've already covered this in another video, and the video is so good that I don't really want to segue too much into this, but you use a system to maybe you could just in a nutshell talk about this 2 hour swing where you buy when it goes green, you close when it goes red.
Yeah, so the whole moving average is there's like a million moving averages out there. The whole is one that I found is the best for swing trading because it kind of catches up much faster with the price action and kind of shows you when the recovery is about to happen. And then conversely, on the other side, it kind of shows you when momentum is being lost a lot faster than some of the other moving averages. So it helps with swing trading, especially when things start to really move in terms of volume. So, like just the process of the last like 5 years, not doing very well at trading, the whole moving average was kind of a game changer for me. So I started with that. And then there's the whole suite, which just helps you visualize when that line is starting to curl up, which on the
Did you want
Bitcoin, yeah.
Did you mind maybe either showing us just quickly on the Bitcoin or on Sol chart what you meant, like just which one is, without going into too much detail because they can watch the tutorial. But
Sure, yeah. So we're in a very like choppy zone, but you can see the whole moving average has caught up with the price action and kind of like leveled off. You don't know if it's green or red or green or red, but you can see um, it's kind of starting to flicker. A lot of times when it starts to flicker, that's telling you that it's kind of like found the floor, so to speak, and it's very likely ready to go on another run. But that's my take. There's a lot of uncertainty in the markets right now with like everything Elon's doing and the state of the U.S. right now. So there's a lot of like fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market. But I would say it looks like it's starting to bottom again, and it looks like Bitcoin wants to head back up to 100K, which is good. But
cool.
you can see when
Ma-
it starts to do these larger waves, and it's a lot more clear, like when to buy and sell, buy, sell. Um,
Yeah.
that's just
And
more
you like,
more volume in the market. Whereas right now, it's very like choppy, kind of flickering in this like little flat line area here.
yeah. And so you really only suggest this with like larger market caps, Sol, BTC, ETH. Would the Jupe chart kind of follow this quite well or not really?
I mean, yeah, Jupa's interesting too with the buybacks coming, because it can really change the dynamic of the token. Where um, because because Jupa is also being supported by the protocol's fees. Now, I would expect it to start outpacing the market. Obviously, all of that is yet to be seen. It's all speculation. but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. And what's worked really well for me is just um, when when the line is green on Bitcoin, typically alts will move to a much larger level. Typically, all the alts are going to follow what Bitcoin does to different degrees. So sometimes Bitcoin will outpace the alts, and sometimes the alts will outpace Bitcoin. But because they have much smaller market caps, typically, like I'm not really touching any alts until the whole moving average turns green for me on Bitcoin because there's just more risk involved there.
Gotcha. And when you're meaning alts, you're meaning like Sol, ETH, Dupe. Would Bonk still be in your kind of? I mean, they're all altcoins, but some are gonna, like the latest, 15-day-old pump.fun token doesn't have the same kind of.
Oh my god,
The
bro!
risk to reward is a lot. It's a lot worse.
Yeah, I'm usually only because ETH has been kind of flat and underperforming. I mean, this can all change, tomorrow, where ETH might start outperforming the rest. But for the last year or so, ETH has been kind of underperforming. So I'm mostly just touching Bitcoin and Solana. But Bonk has, saved my ass, so to speak, on many occasions. Once it starts really moving, it can be a really fun coin to trade. But super small market cap coins, like maybe under 50 mil, maybe under 100 mil, I don't really, I'm not really in the degen trenches very much because I've lost so much money doing that. And so I've realized that just slow and steady really wins the race, in my opinion. Like swing trading Solana when Bitcoin is green, um, and being super patient, you can mitigate a lot of loss and maximize a lot of return on investment just by being super patient. And so that's kind of been my mantra for the last like couple years, and it's saved me a lot.
Gotcha. Do you mind bringing up the Bonk chart and maybe mentioning some times that you jumped in, jumped out?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Bonk can
it's
move.
yeah, it's down like I think 70% from its all-time high. I think it's been maybe I think it's 70%. It's been quite brutal, but yeah, it certainly
Oh
can.
yeah, yeah.
I mean
So
that
I mean, clearly you could just draw the lines here and see we're in a very heavy downward trend here. Um, but when I started when I left my job in 2023, uh, and I just got very lucky. Bonk also did a wonderful airdrop to the community in December. Um, of 2022, like in the bear market, and that saved a lot of people too. Um, but like, let's look back here.
yeah, Bonk
2023.
Bonk Bonk saved Solana is
Yeah,
what I said, what I
that's so
think.
true. It's so true. It's so true.
Sol went down to $8. It was brutal. FTX have rugged billions, and then Bonk came along, put a bit of hope there.
Yeah. So like, you know, um, if in October of 2023, if you longed Bonk here, then uh, yeah, it just went on a crazy run. Crazy. It just kept going up and up and up. And I think it peaked around the time when it made the Binance listing, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, yeah, like 2,000, 3,000%, which is pretty good. I mean, for alt season hasn't really hit the way that it did in 2021, where I got absolutely wrecked because I didn't know how to trade. but but even given the fact that we haven't had an alt season since a true alt season since 2021, um, Bonk has done an amazing job of like outpacing the market.
Yeah. So you would be looking for Bitcoin to go to get out of this kind of flat, wavy, just kind of like this, and put a little bit more curve on it, and then Sol to follow, and then maybe think about well, you don't do leverage normally, so I guess buying spot bonk, letting it go
Yeah,
up a little bit, taking.
I I really recommend. if you can, dollar cost averaging your positions and being very, very patient. So like I usually look at the 2 hour chart when I'm swing trading, and like maybe I would buy with 25% of my bag here when it turns green, just in case it goes up, and then I might, and then it comes down, flickers back green. So you're, if you feel like if the whole moving average has kind of leveled off and you feel like it's at a good floor point, and the bullseye border actually helps me with that too, because once the bullseye border is like long and flat for a long period of time, you can kind of see it's building a floor. It's building a floor here because it's not really, so it's kind of reached support. And so once you feel comfortable it's reached support, you can start buying some of those dips, and yeah, it looks like it's it's going through another squeeze. It's a little choppy still, but it looks like it's going to go back up to 100K soon.
Gotcha. Do you reckon we could have a look at the Sol chart, because the Sol chart has, smaller market cap, a lot more room to move, I guess.
Yeah, we
And
can
I
use
guess
Bitcoin. We can use Bitcoin as a reference right here. Like you can see the whole moving average turned green here, and we had some good volume here. And you'll see that because Sol has a smaller market cap, it's going to move a lot more. So we could flip over to see what Solana did, like as of like 8 to 10 hours ago, and yeah, it's it's moved up to a higher degree. So using Bitcoin as a good reference for when the market's about to move is a great indicator for when to buy some of those alts if you're super bullish on them, like Solana or Jupe.
do you use RSI or anything else like that?
No, I just use the whole moving average. I use the bullseye borders, and I also use a moving average ribbon. And the moving average ribbon will tell me, and it's R2 by Just Uncle, I think. Here. Oh, because I'm on the. Let's just remove bullseye borders for a second.
And yeah, for more information, we did do a tutorial on this. I'll link to it. And it was good. I knew nothing, and we did it, and then it was wrong, and we did it again, and then I believe it's right. It works.
Wow, that's great to hear. It's helped you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I have this big long-term kind of thesis that Sol will go close to $1,000.
Mm.
So in hindsight, I should have taken profits around 270, 290. We could probably zoom back out on the chart and see that it was like, it was getting cooked at that point,
Hmm.
2.5, 3 weeks ago. And then it literally dipped from 290 down to like 180-ish. And there is some fear in the markets where, fear and greed is sitting there like 45. Doesn't really know if it's going to go down lower or whatnot. There is
Hmm.
like some people are calling a bottom at maybe like 145 before we bounce back. I hope we don't go down that low, of course, because
Yeah.
if so, it meant we just, from 290, we lost a lot.
Yeah. So if we look back at the Bitcoin chart with the moving average ribbon, and I've got the settings at SMA 150 for fast and SMA 600 for slow. If you look at Bitcoin and how beautifully this thing moves with the indicator, we had a death cross on the 2 hour here. And I like to say, as a rule and a guide, it'll, after a death cross, which in a bull market, sometimes a death cross is actually a buy signal because inverse trading works well in a bull market. But we had this death cross here. And as a rule of thumb, I this is just validation for the way that I see the chart. It usually gets rejected by the ribbon the first time and then accepted by the ribbon the second time after a death cross. And here, this is like picture perfect. Like I couldn't teach trading analytics better than this. It touches the after a death cross, because we've got the ribbon red. it touches the moving average, it bounces down, it got rejected super hard. And then it comes back into the ribbon. Now it's accepted, and it almost looks like to the minute that the ribbon is acting as support, whereas before the ribbon was acting as resistance, which means it's kind of the ribbon's almost said, okay, I'll let you in here. And the market's like, okay, now this is support and we're ready for the next leg up. So it's validation, in my opinion, that we are going to see 100K Bitcoin within the next like day or two, which is actually kind of exciting. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, this is not financial advice and all speculation, but if you just look at this chart, it looks like a picture perfect TA as to like what I've been seeing for the last couple of years and how it works.
Gotcha. So I'm going to ask some silly questions now. So this red ribbon part, so because it goes red, that normally means it's bearish,
Exactly.
or and then does it look as though it will kind of end soon? Like if you zoom out on that chart a little bit, it'd be cool to see another time when it went red and to see if it did the same kind of confirmation.
Yeah, it did. See, look. Oh, no. It got rejected here and then accepted here, but then it came back down for another round where it got rejected here and then accepted here. So there's this movement that Bitcoin does a lot where it gets, after a death cross, it gets rejected by the ribbon and then accepted by the ribbon. Now that doesn't mean it won't come back down and retest. But then once again, here, rejected by the ribbon, accepted by the ribbon.
So if you had a bit of a thesis on that previous one that played out, because it went from like 92,000 to 101, if you can go back to that other section, where would
Mhm.
you be thinking okay, so you'd be buying when it goes green, right? So
Yeah.
you'd be buying at like 94,000, and then
Hmm.
you don't need to be greedy. You could take profits at like 6,
Yeah.
7%.
Line turned green here, and then you could see it's losing a lot of momentum. It probably chopped down really fast. But even if you got the very end of this candle and you're like, damn, I wish I sold here. um, that was still like a almost 4% trade. So not too bad, right? For Bitcoin. And
Yeah.
my guess is if we switched over to the Solana chart during this time frame, Solana probably it would have been a 10% trade on Solana or something like that.
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah, that'd be a great idea. Let's see. Okay, so uh, January 2nd at 2 a.m. to January 7th at 14. Okay. January 2nd. What did I say? 2 a.m.?
2 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's right here. Let me get my ruler. Okay, January 2nd at 2 a.m. to January 7th at what? 14. It was 14.
1,400.
Okay. So it's about the same. It was a 5% trade.
Okay.
Sometimes Solana will way outpace Bitcoin. This movement was really nice here.
Gotcha. Now, how, like, people will want to leverage this up, which, of course, if you leverage up, you can get wrecked. Is there some, a safer level of leverage that you kind of are fond of?
There
Like,
is.
would
Now
you 2x or
obviously,
3x?
yeah, you could 2x or 3x. Even dollar cost averaging your leverage position would be really smart, because then you're kind of like extending your liquidation zone there, like the floor price or the stop loss. So you could long like when the line turns green and see if there's a good buying opportunity. If it dips back down, and then kind of dollar cost average your position. I'm a huge
So you
fan of
mentioned
DCA.
You mentioned you like to do like 25%. So you'd put in four lots potentially of your
Yeah,
base.
which would be really useful like during times where the market's kind of choppy right now, and you're not totally sure if it's just sideways. Um, if you're super patient over the period of a week and you lock in four positions, then you could be pretty confident that um, it's a safe position, because that means that the support is really strong, like especially for Bitcoin and Solana. I don't know about the like Bonk could chop down really hard still, or like and a meme coin could still, yeah.
Gotcha. So I guess, based on your feels for the market right now, Bitcoin could go up to 100, over 100 pretty soon within the next few days. So it could be a good idea. None of this financial advice in any way, but it could be a good idea to maybe dollar cost average at what kind of levels with, say, Sol, because we cover Sol a lot more. So when should we be looking at our entries?
I mean,
And then
the line turned green. The whole
yeah,
moving average turned green, and we're inside of the death cross ribbon. And this is starting. This looks, the bottom of the death cross ribbon looks like it's starting to swoop up as support. So we've re-entered kind of like a wave of support, and it looks like we're on a leg up. We're above the whole moving average. The whole moving average is green. I would say this 200 is actually a good place to long.
so cool. So maybe 4 DCA entries over the course of a week. And if it goes down lower, goes green again, you DCA again. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say look to buy the dips next time it dips. But I would recommend, again, not financial advice, but I think that $200 Sol is actually a really good support level here, and you can even see if you zoom out that it has really hovered around 200 for a while now.
Yeah. That last move where it went all the way up to 290 was so amazing.
Yeah,
Uh, and I think we can get carried away with, like, the non-traders can get carried away with not looking at the charts and just fundamentally thinking that it can go to $1,000 because, it probably will, in my opinion, or close to it.
yeah,
But there's many more months. There's a lot more retail that needs to come in. There's a lot more dumb money, smart money,
yeah,
and all sorts of people that need to come on for that to happen. So, if it does go and hit something like that, and you can clearly see with when that the green it's coming up, a nice angle, and then it starts to taper off. You can clearly see it lost steam at like 290.
absolutely. Another bit of advice I can give for everyone is, when you do get a lot of momentum on the whole moving average and it starts like going up like crazy like this, then you know that on the other side, when it starts to lose momentum, I would say 90% of the time, it will, when it starts losing momentum and price action goes beneath the whole moving average, it will come back to retouch it one last time. And you see it happened here. It retouched it right here. So this would be like if you were looking for an exit position, this would have been your ideal exit for riding out this wave, because it's very unlikely that it's going to come back up here and start going up even more. When the price action comes beneath the whole moving average, usually it'll tap it and rip back down for like a long correction, which kind of happened here. It looked like it might have been coming back here, but no, this is part of a long correction phase.
I certainly hope we see a nice little run up to 250 or more again. That would be nice. Now, do you do
Me too.
anything with just general support and resistance? And I understand that the trenches is not where you partay, but a lot of people do partay in the trenches, and dupe will do very well off. They take a tiny fee, but all that all that liquidity or all those trades that go through dupe, trenches are basically it's where the party's at, pump.fun and whatnot. So do you have any kind of, even if you don't play in them, any advice that could work in that kind of area for the newer
Absolutely.
coins?
Absolutely. So like if your coin is on the Solana blockchain, like Popcat and all these awesome memes and, Fart Coin, which is quite the ripper, pun intended. Um, you know that when Solana is at support, which it looks like it's back in the ribbon, it's reclaiming 200. It looks like it's back at support. That the rest of the Solana meme coins that are hot meme coins, because there's meme coins dying and being born every day, so you don't know. I'd say like billion market cap meme coins or $50 million market cap meme coins. Um, when they're hot, then and when Solana starts to rip and Solana's reclaimed support, then that is actually a good time to long um, some meme coins, which is not financial advice because I've been wrecked on memes, so I don't really mess with them as much. So,
Mm,
but when you think Solana is at support, that's a great time to long your meme. But make sure you get out fast when it looks like Solana's losing momentum, because those memes will rip down just as hard as they ripped up.
yeah. And what about, would we be able to have a look at the dupe chart with the same settings, even though it's maybe,
Absolutely.
I think it's going to outperform because, well, people have predictions, but we don't know. Maybe you probably have a better idea than I do. But like there's an estimated like 300 to 400 million dollars a year of revenue that Jupiter makes.
Yeah.
Is I don't know if that's what it is or if it's double that and that's what the buybacks would be. Either way, it's sizable. And every Monday, I believe, a DCA starts to buy back the tokens. I imagine it will be like every hour throughout the entirety of the week, so you don't have these localized pumps that people will just long and then
Exactly.
short afterwards.
It's this
But
this coming Monday, which is the 17th.
yeah,
Yeah, this coming Monday, the 17th, Jupiter will start their buybacks, which I believe is about for currently with like even a low volume market, it's about $400,000 a day. If the market starts to go crazy, it could be $1 million a day in buybacks, but it just depends on what the market's doing and the fees that they're claiming. But I would expect Jupe with the buybacks to start outpacing the rest of the market, which is really exciting from a trading perspective, because um, you can kind of use those dynamics with the buybacks to your advantage. And I would expect a lot of traders on Solana to also start swing trading this thing, because it'll probably outpace, is what I'm guessing.
yeah. I wonder how it's going to really look because, in some ways, um, it may never, it may not really have the same kind of dips, because there's always going to be a decent amount of buy pressure. I guess people can sell into it. People will arbitrage in some ways, and I guess there's like 505 million stake dupe, and there's
Yeah.
1.6 million, sorry, billion, 1.6 billion circulated. So there is a lot out there that can be sold.
Mhm.
But how how did this look? How does this indicator look for this
Well,
token?
yeah. So if you compare it, let me add this to my watch list. If you compare it right now to the Solana chart, just looking at the ribbon, you can see the ribbon's really thin and it's just ripped above. Whereas Solana is still trying to reclaim support at 200. It's like Solana would be like down here. And I think a lot of it is the news of the buybacks has caused a lot of people to buy back into Jupe. And also, Jupe was oversold, to be completely honest. Uh, it's just an oversold project. There was a lot of FUD around Jupiwary and how many tokens they're giving out to the community, which is just kind of silly on many levels. So I think a lot of whales dumped it, and it's just plainly oversold, even if they weren't doing buybacks. So I think there's a lot of space for Jupe to fly. And also, if you remember when Uniswap announced that it was doing, what was it? Uniswap announced that it was giving
Unichain? No.
Uniswap on no, not Unichain. They announced that they were giving revenue back. It was like rev share to
Right.
stakers of Uniswap, and it pumped like 70% in like 4 hours. So the potential for like Jupiter, especially understanding it's pretty oversold at this point, is really high in my opinion. I think it's a great token to hold, and I'm not just shilling it because I'm on a working group. It's it's like if you saw what happened with Uniswap, it's kind of true.
Yeah, and a lot more transparency with Dupe. Can we zoom back and see if it's kind of fit fit the bill in the last? Yeah, that certainly looks like it's fit the bill, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's oversold, so it's been almost acting like a $1 stable coin for like the last year, you know. But then if you just compare these last like few hours to the way Solana's moving, you'll see that the ribbon is way thinner and Jupe price action is way above the ribbon. And so we've already got, even though the buybacks haven't even started, the market is scooping it up like crazy. So here's Solana and here's Jupe. It's just crazy momentum right now.
And what does a thin ribbon mean?
A thin ribbon means that there's way more likelihood it's going to rip back up because the sell pressure isn't that strong. Um, so like you can see just the shape. What I do is I really look at the shapes of the ribbons because that gives me a perspective of very like long-term momentum and volume. And so Jupiter is just looking oversold. The ribbon's already starting to kind of like angle up a little bit versus Solana's, which is thicker. And you look at Bitcoin, the ribbon's thin too. It's chopped
Okay,
up in this ribbon here. Yeah.
gotcha. All right. Probably need to do some dedicated stuff on ribbons. I mentioned it to you before. I know you don't have the bandwidth, but look, I'm a big believer there should be a whole lot of working groups, like a whole lot. I think one dedicated to just trading with a couple of experienced traders, just creating videos and whatnot, just teaching people this sort of stuff. Because Raoul Paul, I believe, said in the previous cycle that uh, in the future, like if you don't know how to trade, and this was before AI, so it's probably changed now. But if you don't know how to trade, like how will you be able to make money? You'll be able to make money or inherit money, but you won't be able to keep it. I think it's just at least some basic understanding of how charts kind of work, because they hold enough allure and they work enough of the time that people obsess over them
Yeah.
for whatever reason that I don't know. I don't fully understand. Awesome.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I know that part of the PPP mantra is just helping each other win, and I know for a fact that if I had some sound trading advice in my corner or like a mentor during 2021 when I was just getting wrecked in the banana zone and had no idea what I was doing, I would be a lot better off today. So that's definitely one thing I'm passionate about is not giving financial advice or telling you this is how to make money, but also helping people mitigate some of those losses, helping people trade a little bit smarter, helping people learn how to read charts more accurately, and giving some of that advice of the person who's actually spent like 2 years staring at charts and knows how a lot of that momentum works versus someone who's just like, hopping in fresh and sees a green candle and wants to buy. So yeah.
yeah, and your strategy is it's not going to work the same way Frank DeGods jumps into a meme coin at $50,000 market cap and sells at 10 million, because a lot of those will be lot losers. Most of them will be losers, and that is a proper skill. You need like a team in real life all your bros together, all your brothers, working it out, and you probably dump on your friends sometimes. Not accusing anyone of that, but just this is a slower strategy. But I do think, the fact that Sol just goes in this nice trend, I think it's a very good idea, not with your staked Sol that you're staking with your favorite validator, but with, the trading bags to take those profits as they go high and then buy back in lower. Because, I mean, I did see Sol at like 290, and I thought to myself, I think I should sell a little bit. It will just kind of, the portfolio numbers on Solana.watch, which is now also portfolio.dupe.ag, but the portfolio numbers went nice and high on one particular ledger wallet. And since then, they have come down like 45%, which has not
Yeah.
been appreciated. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, volatility is definitely something as a Web3 maxi you just have to learn to be comfortable with. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, I'm fine with volatility, but I do know that if I looked at the charts earlier and actually had a good look, even for 5 minutes, I would have thought, you know what, I'll go sell 100 Sol here or whatever. My
Yeah.
expenses for the next few weeks, few months, half a year, whatever. So what has your biggest trading win been?
I think like in terms of percentage, it was just Bonk. Bonk, like I made like 5,000% on Bonk, and it helped me pay a lot of my bills when I didn't have a job. So I'm super grateful for Bonk, and and kind of learned how to trade with Bonk too because it was doing these really nice like waves, and I kind of just like several months before like discovered Jupe.ag and like the magic of Solana. So um, super grateful to Bonk and super grateful to Solana. I know like a lot of people just do really well with meme coins, and since then I've been very conservative, because I've seen a lot of people get wrecked on memes, and so I'm more conservative now. But yeah, Bonk helped me a lot. I think Bonk was probably my biggest win in terms of like percentage. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was playing briefly on BNB chain the other day because of Broccoli, CZ's dog. You
Hmm.
heard about Broccoli?
I heard about
And
broccoli. Yeah.
it was a tremendously bad experience over there, I'll tell you. And
Oh,
I've used BNB chain for years. Sol's obviously where I've done thousands more transactions. But the thing that we see now, just for anyone watching and thinking, I'm going to apply these to meme coins, which is, we have not said that in any way. We've said the opposite, but there'll be people that will take that away because it's a quick buck. The issue you see these days is obviously a hype token comes out or a hyped name like Broccoli, and there's 100 tokens that are made instantly. There are people bundling the transaction, which means they go and buy a supply with like 50 wallets or more. They own the vast majority of the supply, and the chart, they kind of pump it up, and then they just go market sell all at once, and they just extract liquidity. It's disastrous out there. So I do think you're going to do far better to win on the big tokens. And then if you want to go in DGen, because it is fun to play in the casino, take a very small percentage. Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
I
for
mean,
those that,
just looking at Peanut real quick. Look at how massive this red ribbon is. I mean, it is disastrous. Peanut the squirrel.
yeah,
And so, yeah, that's a lot of risk. It's starting to chop back up, but you don't know if Peanut's ever going to be as popular as it was when like Elon Musk talked about it in the beginning.
so it
So
has to break all throughout that red, like sell pressure, essentially. Is that what it? Is that the?
it's got to go 130% and probably spend like a week here and close out this massive death cross before a sensible trader would feel comfortable trading it. Now, some people would say, yeah, but you buy when there's blood in the streets. But like, okay, yeah, but this thing could still go to zero. It is Peanut the squirrel. It's a pretty good meme. But it's also down, uh, 1,200% from like where it was when it first pumped really hard. So be careful out there, degens. Don't want anyone to
What?
get wrecked.
Yeah. What's a bonk wall of red look like?
It's pretty significant with bonk too, but not nearly as bad as peanut. Peanut's brutal.
So how much does it have to jump? Like, what's that percentage it needs to kind of climb
It
through?
tr- it tried so hard here, and you know, I would kind of like try to reference this same time frame with Bitcoin and see what the market was doing, because Bonk is also reacting to the market, and so it's not all Bonk's fault that it looks bearish right now. It has a lower market cap than Bitcoin and Solana, and it's just doing its thing, and people are degenning. So but yeah, I would like to see it come up here, close out this death cross ribbon, and flick a golden cross before starting to swing trade it, because it still looks pretty bloody.
So what kind of price movement does it have to do?
Let's
If you
see.
can use your little ruler tool. And then I'll be
I'd
keen
have
to
to go
see
up
ETH.
50%, 50% and start like building a floor price here. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
It tried over here. It got rejected really hard by the ribbon here.
Mm.
So who knows? Maybe
Is there
hopefully it'll break through. There will be another meme coin season, and everyone will be happy. We'll see.
yeah. Is there a trader in your mind in particular that is like all over these ribbons that has like good YouTube content or something like that to learn more?
I don't know, man. I have literally um, just discovered the three indicators that I use the most: the whole moving average, the moving average ribbon, and the bullseye borders. I've created just from being in the trenches for 5 years. So they work best for me. They're insanely powerful, like each one on their own. But as far as other people who are using these, I'm sure there's a lot. Like so, on TradingView, you can search your indicator. Like this is a MA ribbon, and you can see here 1.8 thousand other people are using it, which is pretty low for a TradingView indicator. But I'm not the only one in the world. But I don't have any people's names like offhand who are using this. I just know that this is what works for me. So it's a very Catoshi-esque strategy. But I'd like to see, you mentioned like the working group thing, like strategy driven and like helping people not get wrecked in the market. I think it'd be
Mm.
really cool to collaborate with other traders and see what other people's strategies are too, so that we're not just like living in our own bubbles, and we can all glean some kind of wisdom off of each other. I think that'd be super PPP.
Yeah. I guess one kind of unfortunate thing is if you're really good at it, like I'm very good at DeFi, and so the opportunity cost to create content is so high because then you're not doing DeFi. And so if you're really good at a trader, like you're good as a trader, well, you love being a part of a DAO, so it works out for your kind of core purpose. But a trader, um, you know, in order to create content that's digestible and different viewpoints and whatnot, it may be hard to find a really good trader that fits that bill that's also keen to be part of a working group. But I mean, that's a preconception, but it may be a misconception. There may be, you know, 20 good traders out there in the dupe community that are like, yeah, well, I'll do it for like 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Do you reckon? Oh, you want to talk about Sol now?
Uh, no, I think we talked about it a little bit. It's trying to get back in this ribbon, and looks like it's going to keep moving up as long as Bitcoin does.
I would love to see ETH now because
Oh
I never
yeah,
want to. I never want to. I don't want to fade ETH. I don't hold much ETH. I'm not
that's a good point.
really bullish on ETH, but like they are the second most OG community. Their whales make our Sol whales look like shrimp,
Shrimp.
and I know some Sol whales. And shout out to those future Sol whales. Make sure you stake a Sol with validator.com. But they are, they're more inclined to just let their soul stake and just kind of chill. Whereas ETH whales that I've seen on the timeline throughout the years, they're far more like, let's freaking, I want $10,000 ETH this cycle, which it's struggling because it hit 4,000 early on in the cycle, and then it's just come on down, and it's just poorly performed. But I'm here to learn.
Yeah, I mean, it's been doing this for the last year, just kind of like underperforming a little bit. But it does have the second highest market cap next to Bitcoin, so it's relatively low risk compared to most other tokens, and it does look like it's trying to come back. I don't like the angle of this ribbon. Everything. If you just look at the shape of this ribbon, everything is getting wider and it's all going down. So it's kind of a scary shape, but it could cut through and start riding up now. I mean, I think it really depends on what Bitcoin does here. ETH, ETH looks crazy oversold, just to be honest. I mean, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to ape ETH right now, but it looks oversold because it's just not the ribbon is so red. It's lost so much volume. It hasn't really kept up with Bitcoin. Um, Bitcoin hasn't lost nearly as much volume as ETH has.
I didn't even realize that ETH hit 4K at the end of last year, looking at the charts, or around about that. So
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So
it
that
hit
4K
4K.
is that's a big resistance zone for it. That's like everyone has their take profit. It's like a sell wall right here.
Yeah, well, I guess Sol went crazy with Trump, right? People buying Trump.
Yeah.
But 260 seems to be, without me looking at the charts, just based on where it's kind of hit and then come back. 250 to 260 is like a big resistance level, I think, with Sol. But you'll be able to
Hmm.
see something a little bit more in
Yeah, that's
tune.
so true. That's so true. And so we're hitting a resistance wall because we're also hitting Bitcoin at 100K. And there's a lot of people, including me, that I didn't think I would see Bitcoin at 100K for a while, at least another like 6 months to a year, and here we are, still hovering around 100K for what 4 or 5 months now. So that's amazing. Like that's a dream come true. And because we've hit that 100K sell wall on Bitcoin, the whole market's at a little bit of a standstill. Once Bitcoin breaks through that and people start to say, "Oh, aha, like maybe 150 is possible," then the rest of the market is also going to follow suit, and you'll see Solana at 450. You'll see ETH at 5,000 for sure, but it's gonna take some time, and it's still a little bit unpredictable as to when that's going to be. So yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah. So if you go back to ETH one last time, sorry, you
Hmm.
said it looks really oversold.
Yeah.
How are you making that assessment when you look at the chart with just this information without, checking RSI or
Yeah, well,
um
there's multiple ways you could glean this, right? You could just take the ruler and you could say, well, where is it from the top? Around 4,000. Okay, it's down 31%. Keep in mind, ETH has a huge market cap, and then you look at Bitcoin, and you say, okay, where did Bitcoin top out? Maybe 106,000. And then you see where are we at right now? We're down 8%. So Ethereum has lost 31% volume, or 31% of its market cap uh, from the top, where Bitcoin's only lost 8. And that's almost looking like altcoin levels of volume loss. So then you can kind of glean, well, compared to Bitcoin's movement, Ethereum is oversold by 20%, right?
right.
Because that's the difference. Let's compare Solana real quick too. Solana might be around the same as 30% because it does have a smaller market cap and it moves at a pretty fast clip. But yeah, Solana's at 21% and Ethereum's down, just like from toppy resistance. Although we had this crazy spike right here.
So would you
But yeah,
take it from the
Solana's
crazy
down
spike?
20 or I'd say Solana's down 20 or 30%. Ethereum's definitely down a solid 30%. This I'm not going to take it from here because that was just like what 4 hours of
Freak of nature, freak of Trump
some
nature.
yeah, that was like Trump or like some whale just top blasted it.
I
Yeah,
think there was like over 1 million wallets buying Trump, and then
yeah.
Melania came along, and then
Melania,
Melania.
she ruined crypto paradise for everyone.
She did. She did.
That's funny.
Cool. So if even though you don't do leverage, if someone was going to do leverage 2-3x, fine. Well, not fine, but better than 10x or 20x. And what portion of your portfolio would you risk per trade? I know every trader has like a different style, but I met someone before recently, a friend of mine that didn't put in a stop loss and then just kept on adding more and more collateral on bulk and end up losing a very significant amount of their full net worth.
Oh man. Okay. So first of all, I would say probably this degens are gonna hate me to be honest, but like I would not do leverage on meme coins, and the reason why I say that is because they already move at a 50% clip. So even if you're on spot, even if you're spot on a meme coin, the risk is pretty high. Now, if you're going to I recommend like leverage on Solana or Bitcoin. I would even, I would even go up, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10x, but just I would be very patient to make sure that you're dollar cost averaging your position so you don't get liquidated too fast because sometimes there will be, a red candle and then it just gets scooped back up. So you don't want to get liquidated. Um, and I would just be very patient to dollar cost average it. In terms of what percentage of your bag would I put on leverage, I would probably say if you're thinking of dollar cost averaging in 4 positions on your leverage, so you're thinking more long term, I would probably say 10% of your bag, and then tops like if you're going to DCA four portions, then that's 40% of your bag. I would be very hesitant to put too much onto leverage. But if you do get a couple good wins in a row, you can amplify your profits and then start kind of only leveraging with your profits rather than your retirement, so to speak.
Yeah. 40% is quite a bit. Like that's pretty massive, right? Because if
Yeah,
you get that
but
wrong,
well, if you get it wrong, that's a lot of risk. That's true.
and how would you set up your stop losses?
Stop loss is tough because a lot of times the place where I would say to take stop loss is the place where I would say to dollar cost average. Um, you know, I'd say probably I would say dollar cost average if it goes down 15 or 20%, and maybe stop loss if it goes down 30 or 40%. It's a tough pill to swallow though with leverage because that's why you don't want to leverage your your retirement or your savings. You want to have some money to play with and have a little bit of fun. Not
Yeah,
risk too much. Yeah.
cool. All right, so in summary, uh, definitely need to learn more about ribbons, which is fantastic. I'll do some research into that, and if people like it, maybe you could come back on in the future and talk about ribbons some more. But a token needs to make its way through the death cross ribbon, so through the red ribbon. Anything I get wrong, please just correct me. If that ribbon is a nice big fat ribbon, like ETHs or Peanuts, which was really fat, this is not really a fat ribbon. This is like we're currently at 200. It gets through at like 212, so like 5-6% from there.
Oh,
Peanut the
Peanut.
squirrel, it needs to
I
go
do
up. You
not.
said,
I do not recommend touching Peanut. I'm
yeah.
sorry. It just does not look very pretty. Let's go. Let's go to Bonk.
Even Bonk has a massive, like that's you.
Yeah.
I think that was 50%. So I mean, in some ways, maybe do you think it could be safer? Because are you like if we go and back test this a little bit, you don't have to do it now, but just as a question, where your mouse is, where your cursor is right now, where it has that green movement and it moves up in that whole one position, 7th of Jan, from like the bottom to the top, excluding the wicks, what size was that move?
From the bottom to the top, exclude the
Yeah,
wicks.
so from just to the right on approximately the 14th of Jan,
Uh-huh.
from that
Oh, I see.
from from that, because that made it through and then it obviously couldn't sustain it.
Yeah. It came back up with a nice flying V, and then I mean, look at these zigzags. These are 4-hour zigzags that are going up 25%. I mean, that's some crazy price action. But that was at
Yeah.
20%. This would have been a 20% swing trade. So that would have been a good one.
Yeah. So it can. So what I'm thinking is, I was thinking maybe with the red ribbon looks so massive, maybe wait for it to make a little bit of headway through it before you open. But I mean, you can still, like, if it starts to rip, it could just be a good idea to jump on it and not get too greedy, maybe.
Yeah, not getting greedy is the real key, and it's hard. It's hard.
So right now we're green, um,
Hmm.
but like it's maybe it's up 5% or something. Maybe it's a little bit more because of the charts. Um,
The HMA is about to cut into the ribbon, which is a big deal, because the HMA hasn't touched the ribbon in a while since since January 18th. So we'll see how it goes. But again, use Bitcoin as your guiding factor, okay, and then you know, and then kind of go from there.
so we kind of want to see Bitcoin go and hold above 100K, hold above the red before we look at other alts.
Yeah, the beauty of Bitcoin right now is that it's stable inside of this ribbon. It looks like it's been accepted. So like the SMA 600 is like, I'm resistance, get away from me, and then it even bounces down. It's like, get away, I'm resistance, and then boom, it pops up back up over here, and it's like, hey, I'm back, and it's like, oh, maybe now I'll act as support, and it'll probably start to scoop down, scoop up, and now this resistance, this angry resistance that it kept bouncing down off of, now becomes support. It'll scoop back up, and we'll go on another wave. I think back up to 100K, maybe back up to 104K, and then it might chop back down there only because there's a lot of fear in the market still, and I don't know if we're totally through the 100K resistance yet, but we'll see. We might be. We might be. It might fly.
Right. So overall, other than Dupe that has buybacks or other than tokens that have buybacks, we're due for more sideways actions until Bitcoin says, all right, let's go 110, let's go 115, let's go 120. Cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, fortunately for clarity, Bitcoin does very much dictate the way the rest of the market is going to work. It has the biggest market cap. It has the most attention from the whole market, and it's very clear. Like, okay, this is the way. This is the sentiment here. So it's trying to break through from being sideways bearish to heading back up to 100K right now, which is exciting.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that was great. That was a great little chat. There's probably a million more things that we could talk about, but it'd be a good idea if I just kind of look at the charts every day. And if those people that watch this did so as well, start asking questions in the comments. Maybe we can borrow you again in the future after 110K or something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, it'd be great to revisit and see what I said today and see whether it happens or not, or whether people are mad at me.
Yeah,
But
sure.
yeah, it's
I
been
know
fun.
we've said it enough times, but we're learning here. It's just the viewpoints based on experience, of which I have none, but Catoshi does. So yeah, not financial advice. Now you're so busy in the cadet working group. I mean, your Twitter is. Do you post? You can say what your Twitter is, and then I'll put it below. But do you post any trades that you're entering there, or you just not really?
I do. I give a little bit of reflection on the market, but mostly just posting juke bull posts and the occasional just like ideas about stuff. But my Twitter is at USIMEOW, or you can just search Catoshi Miyakomoto on Twitter, and you'll find me. It's the cat with a pyramid in the background. And I appreciate
Awesome.
everyone for following me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sub, for having me on. Appreciate it, man.
Pleasure. I think one other thing that's not related to trading, but a good thing to do is um, maybe like I believe the not everyone knows what the cadets working group actually does. Did you want to enlighten us a little bit on what you do and if someone needs help or how you could help them, how you serve the
Yeah,
Dupe DAO?
absolutely. Yeah, so the Catdets working group is the third working group that was established in the Jupiter DAO. The first one was the core working group. The second one was Uplink working group led by Cash, who I'm sure everyone here knows. And the third one was the Catdets working group. And we're basically the community working group. And we were tasked with um, setting up the ethos of the DAO so that there is documentation for everyone, for all the newcomers in the community to understand what it means to be a part of the community, and set up like the guidelines and the rules for like community conduct, and also just like we create a lot of content about Jupiter, and our X page for the Jupe Catdets is at Jupe Catdets. We're going to be going to a vote in the next couple of weeks, so we're super excited about that. And basically, it's just working to be a part of the community, to make sure the community is a welcoming place, and establish like what the different roles mean, like Catdets. What is a Catdet? Cats of culture. What is a cat of culture? The team lead on my team, Julian, is an insanely talented gigabrain developer, and has created all these tools for the community to use, all these websites for the community to use. So just making it more of a welcoming, uh, uh, the DAO, making the DAO a more welcoming environment for newcomers, whether you're just a brand new user trying to learn about Jupiter, or you've been in the DAO for a long time. What does it all mean? And yeah, just being like playing a key role in establishing the DAO and educating people about what the DAO is.
Awesome. I'm smiling because I like that cats of culture is COC. Bit of
Yeah,
a boyish immaturity there. But fantastic. Well, we'll cover the vote when the vote goes live, and we'll make sure
awesome.
that people are aware. Thanks very much for sharing your wisdom with us. We will give it a go, and hopefully we'll become profitable in the market. And another thing, as just a bit of a shill, if anybody has any trading skills, join, make sure you're active in Dupe DAO. But you can always go and put a Dupe proposal out to get a trial working group, or first you get like a small grant from the core working group if you did want to create PPP kind of trading tutorials and live streams and that kind of stuff. Because I think you'd be very good at it, but you're very busy as it is. And I think it needs probably, as you said, it can't be an echo chamber. So 3, 4 people that are each sharing things, debating things, and working out what's most profitable. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, and it goes along with the PPP ethos, which is peer pump peer, where the community at Jupiter DAO wants to see each other win. So yeah, it could be crypto Web3 could be a treacherous place, and like I think that's actually a great idea to have people who are experienced traders help kind of like protect the community from making as many mistakes. You're never not make mistakes as a trader, but like mitigating some of those mistakes could definitely be helpful. I think it's an awesome idea. So yeah.
Mm. One last thing is Jupiter's a cult, and said by Meow himself, and Murad Mamedov said, like, Memecoins are cults, and you want that cult. This is not a religious cult or I'm not going to name any. It's not a silly cult, but it's that kind of those crazy core beliefs where you get these acronyms, which at first are a bit wild, J for J and space cats and whatnot, and then you kind of assimilate to it. But the best way to make a cult is to make people rich, and that's where that the trading skills, the PPP is very helpful, because there's going to be 100 million people in the next few months coming into crypto across all these different blockchains, and they will be used by exit liquidity by the institutions regardless, and big sexes, Binance and Bybit and whatnot. And look, if you can try and help them so that less exit liquidity, that's a good thing. And 2, if you can leverage up your skills so that you're better, so in some ways they become your exit liquidity. Not that we want that, but just so that you position yourself to grow your bags, grab more dupe, accumulate more dupe. It's probably going to be one of the best outperforming tokens given its market cap size. So yeah, long story short, someone needs to create this PPP trading group and teach us all how to trade and make us wealthier. That's my 2 cents.
Amen to that,
Cool.
brother. I hear you on that. And the word cult, the word culture is also in cult. So cat of culture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks again. We'll end here and we'll catch you in the next one. Whoa.